It's no secret that the legacy mainstream media massages poll numbers to benefit Democrats. So, when both CNN and MSNBC release separate polls that are absolutely devastating for the Democrats, it makes you wonder, how bad are things really? First, let's take a look at CNN, which shows that the Democrats have reached their lowest approval rating in history.
Good morning. Welcome Inside Politics Sunday. I'm Manu Raju. First up this morning, a brand new exclusive CNN poll that paints a brutal reality for Democrats as they struggle to mount a unified opposition to President Trump. Americans' favorable views of the Democratic Party's brand are at a record low, just 29%. That's compared to 36% for Republicans. It is the lowest ever recorded for Democrats in CNN polling going back more than 30 years. As you can see, the party's numbers dropping a staggering 20 points in just 4 years. The CNN SRSR's poll also found 57% of Democrats and Democratic-leaning voters are more interested in seeing their party leaders stop the GOP agenda, compared to 42% who are more interested in cutting bipartisan deals. It is a big shift from where the party stood at the start of Trump's first term in 2017. Now, this survey was taken before this week's tumultuous battle over funding the government, which resulted in one of the ugliest intra-party Democratic disputes in years, and left many in the party lobbying furious attacks at Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer, who ultimately reversed course and let a GOP bill funding the government become law in order to avert a shutdown. Now, a bitter round of finger-pointing is taking shape after Democrats failed to get a single concession from the GOP, despite having their first piece of leverage to fight back against Trump. Now the big question, where does a party in deepening turmoil and in open warfare go from here?
So there are a lot of things to like about that segment. First of all, just have to love that the Democrats are polling worse than they ever have in history. But second of all, this is an apples to apples comparison, because it's not as if we're comparing two separate polls, right? This is all from CNN, which supposedly uses the same methodologies, uses the same sample weights, and all of that. So the fact that it's the worst in CNN history says a lot. And like I said earlier, you know, the Democrats try to massage and tilt these polls to benefit the Democrats. So if they're already at the lowest point in history at 29%, ooh, is it worse than that? Is it 22? Is it in the teens? And there is Matt Trim's tail right there. On top of that, yes, and that is the Matt Trim earthquake. On top of that, so you had him, Manu Raju, hint that part of the dissatisfaction within the Democrat base right now is how they handled the CR and how Chuck Schumer handled that. But they're actually fracturing on multiple fronts, because it's not just resistance to the Trump administration. It's also culture war issues. Just last week, Governor Gavin Newsom sat down, I think it was with Charlie Kirk, and revealed that he's actually against transgender athletes in women's sports. That is a huge break from the far left radical wing of the Democrat Party. Now, it did come out later that something like 60% of Democrats actually agree with Gavin Newsom. But again, 60 to 40%, that is a huge divide within the Democrat Party. And there is going to be an internal war on that side as they try to figure out how they come out of this political wilderness. Like I've said in previous videos, I think this is all great news for the Trump administration. The days are numbered until the midterms, so Trump and his team need to work quickly to implement the MAGA and America First agenda to make sure that, hey, we really do get the country not just back on the right track, but set us up for long-term success well beyond Trump's term. Now, as if all of this wasn't bad enough for Democrats, MSNBC actually has a separate poll with a different question that really puts all of this into perspective. But before we get to that, so the CNN poll, what's really bad is that usually the party in exile comes together. Just think about when Barack Obama won in 2008. Sure, the Republicans were lost and they were fractured, but they quickly came together with conservatives and formed the Tea Party movement. There was a true grassroots movement that exploded organically. And they said, hey, we have a clear alternative vision for the future, a clear vision for America. It is one of smaller government, smaller taxes, putting the government back on the side of the people. Meanwhile, here you see Democrats fractured, and it's no wonder that they're now polling worse than they ever have. But the flip side is true. A new MSNBC poll has come out and shown that more people believe that the country is now on the right track. While this isn't specifically about Trump's approval rating, this does say a lot about what Americans think about Trump.
First of all, the mood of the country. This really jumped out. We asked folks, is it on the right direction or the wrong direction? That 44% you say right direction, that's up since November. And if that doesn't seem like a lot, the last time it cracked 40%, you got to go back to 2012. The last time it actually hit 44 or higher, January of 2004. So a lot of this is Republicans, but independents, that number is also up since the election on the direction of the country.
So under Donald Trump, more people think now that the country is going in the right direction. That number hasn't been matched since 2004 when it was George W. Bush. That says a lot right there. Yesterday during the live hangout, some people were asking, hey, Daniel, can you talk about Trump's approval ratings? But I think that question right there actually answers the question, because the media is always going to spin Trump's numbers, right? They'll do it for any Republican. But when it comes to right track, wrong track, that gives you a true feeling on the mood of the country. But similar to what I said at the very beginning of this video, I still think that the media tilts these numbers. So on both the CNN poll, which shows Democrats at a historic low, and then the MSNBC poll showing the right track at the highest it's been in over 2 decades, I think those may all be underrepresented. I think those numbers may actually be more favorable for Donald Trump and more favorable for the Republicans than they suggest. So I am very happy with that news. I hope you are as well. It's not just the way that Democrats are floundering and barely, I mean, they're not even treading water. They're drowning at this point, and there's not a life jacket in sight. But it's not just that. It's the fact that Trump has actually taken action with these executive orders, executive actions. The CR has gone through. And now, breaking this morning, Kristi Noem made a huge announcement at the border wall where she revealed that construction is resuming and they have authorized 7 additional miles. Take a look.
Everybody, I'm here in Arizona, and right at this spot, you can see where the border wall ends. As of today, we're starting 7 new miles of construction. We're going to continue to make America safe again.
Now, I know 7 miles might not seem like a lot, but hey, it is a step in the right direction. We got to take baby steps, and let's just put one foot after the other, and I think momentum begets momentum, and action begets action. So, is 7 miles as much as I would like to see? No. But hey, at least it started. And again, it's just March. Trump, it hasn't even been 2 months since he's been inaugurated. So hey, the ball is rolling. Let's keep it rolling and let's get this train moving along. Now, the next story I want to talk about actually comes from the University of Tennessee, Knoxville. Charlie Kirk went there, and there was this young man. This is about a 4-minute clip I'm about to show you. And people online have dubbed him the 2025 Jussie Smollett. So just as a refresher, or in case you weren't familiar with Jussie Smollett, he was a Hollywood actor up in Chicago, and he claimed that he was assaulted and robbed and beat up in the middle of the night in Chicago. He claimed, I think, just off the top of my head, the details may be off by a little bit, but I think he claimed, by the way, in the middle of COVID, in the middle of winter, that he went to Subway at like 2 a.m. and then 2 guys supposedly yelled, "This is MAGA country." Yeah, in the middle of deep blue Chicago, and then robbed him and jumped him. Well, this guy at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville, claimed that Trump supporters yelled the N-word at him late at night and then threatened to rape him. However, he didn't report this to the authorities, but he did come in front of a crowd of about 2,000 people to ask Charlie Kirk to denounce those white supremacists. And, well, that's the setup for this clip.
Now we're talking about crimes. Threatening to rape you is an intent of a crime. Did you go to the police? You file a police report? You hire an attorney? You sue the school? Did you go to the civil rights office? You file a civil rights complaint? Did you do any of that? Because you should.
Okay.
No, did you? Tell me. Yes or no?
I did not. But
why?
I'm not going to argue with you.
No, but you're coming in front of 2,000 people to say it. Why did you not go to the university and say this happened?
Okay, because how would I report them?
Anyone. There's hotlines all over this campus. You guys have nothing but, like, if something happens to you, I think you're making this up. I think you're doing this to try to make a point.
Okay.
I don't think there's any evidence.
I can promise you God as my witness, I'm not. Anyways.
No, but seriously, why don't you today commit? Let's do this. I'm going to show you the university official, and why don't you go file a Department of Education complaint, and let's find these terrible people that did this to you. Can we agree?
Okay.
And by the way, we'll be able to look at security camera footage, and we'll see.
Okay, I'll think about it.
But you didn't do that,
Can I try to finish?
You'll think about it. Hold on, why wouldn't you want to do that immediately?
Can I talk?
No, but you're making a serious accusation. Please, I'm just...
And I'm not gonna argue with you about my personal experiences. Anyways.
It didn't happen, man.
Okay, that's cool. Anyways, I feel like every time I step foot on this campus, I have a wall of vitriol and hate at my back. And to the audience, I say to you, these are your fathers, these are your siblings, and these are your neighbors. So y'all need to clock them. And I hate overgeneralizing, but I'm not gonna say all Trump supporters are racist, but a good amount. Anyways, my question to you is, if you had one message to say to these people with the hate in their hearts, what would you tell them?
I would tell you to stop lying.
What would you tell them? Not to me.
No, honestly, I think you're Jussie Smollett at this campus. I think you're completely making this whole thing up. I think you are a complete liar because I am now giving you an opportunity to report this at the I will bring this to Linda McMahon, the head of the Department of Education, the federal government. I will make sure these people are arrested by Kash Patel, the head of the FBI. And you'll say, oh, I'll think about it. Because you're making this up. You're doing this for a political purpose. So will you, no, seriously, Kash Patel will get involved, yes? It's a hate crime. That's not acceptable. Well, hold on, no, will you do this or not?
That's really cute, Charlie, but I'm trying to give you the opportunity to alleviate hate within this group of people who have a shared ideology.
But hold on a second, there's no hate, there's just love of America here in this audience. That's all that's here today, okay? But back to you. I heard your accusation. I'm now going to go to the University of Tennessee and tweet this and say, hey, this is a serious accusation. I want the governor to get involved, by the way. Okay. The governor's get involved. I'm going to call Marsha Blackburn. I'm now going to call Bill Clinton. I know all these people, and we're going to find out really quickly if you're telling the truth or not. Because you just came in front of 2,000 people, and we're going to go bring in the police. We'll bring in the FBI, because what you just said is unacceptable. You said Trump supporters called you the N-word. That is no place in America, and they threatened to rape you. That is no place in America. But you know what else is no place in America? Lying and saying it happened to you. So we'll find out really quick if you're telling the truth or not.
That's cool, but can you answer my question though? If you
my message to everyone
I'm gonna pause. I know some people get upset when I pause and talk and do a reaction, but sometimes I just don't remember to say it at the end. So what the young man is saying is Charlie Kirk did answer his question, because the young man said, hey, what are you going to say to the people who have hate in their hearts? And what Charlie Kirk, he just said it right there. That language, calling someone the N-word, is not acceptable in America. Racism is not acceptable in America. He literally said it right there. But he also said, all of that is wrong, but you know what else is wrong? Lying about situations like that. And when you didn't take any steps to report this to the police, report this to the university, it really throws a lot of doubt on your accusation. So Charlie Kirk did answer the question, and right here, the gentleman's like, well, I want you to answer my question. He just did.
Audience, keep loving America.
okay.
But what about loving the just so you know, this is going to become a very big issue. We're going to put this on social media, because nowhere in America should you be allowed to go in front of a microphone with no evidence, no willingness to report, no likelihood to talk to police and say, oh, this happened to be at night, and ruin the reputation of half the country. And say that they wanted to go with me and call me the N-word. It is gross.
Okay, thank you for your time.
Thank you. You'll be hearing from a lot of institutions, and if you did indeed lie, you will be civilly liable for smearing this university publicly for a very big number. We'll find out if you're telling the truth. Thank you.
Thank you. That's really cute. Make sure you add me, Jaden Clark.
I will. Thank you. Hope you have a good lawyer. Thank you.
That is absolutely crazy. I will be following this case because I want to know if there are more updates. And look, if the gentleman was telling the truth, I have a hard time believing that Trump supporters called him the N-word and said they were going to rape him. I mean, hey, maybe it happened. You never know. I have my doubts for obvious reasons. But hey, if the evidence is on his side, if there turns out to be security camera footage that corroborates his story, then okay, I'll apologize. I'll issue a retraction and I'll take it back. But the other side has to be true as well, that we have to hold people accountable who try to smear half the country, because it's not just about race. When you're not a racist, you're a rapist. take a look at what they did to Brett Kavanaugh. Not just Brett Kavanaugh, but even going back to Clarence Thomas on the Supreme Court, calling him a rapist. And then if you're not a rapist, then you're a fascist, like they say with Donald Trump. And if you're not like literally they have every single insult in the book mapped out. And I think that's part of the reason why you see so much anger, so much resistance on the right. Yes, Donald Trump won, but so many people are angry at being vilified and labeled and demonized, not just by the Democrats and the media, but this happens in pop culture all the time. I think that's why so many people get upset at Hollywood whenever things come out woke or look woke, or whenever they try to stand on a moral high horse and preach to us when their job is to be entertaining us. So it really is disappointing. But as always, all of that is just my analysis and commentary. That is what's going on in the world of politics from my point of view, and I would love to hear from you. So what do you think about those poll numbers from both CNN and MSNBC? Do you think they are where they should be? Do you think they should be lower, or in the case of MSNBC, higher for right track, wrong track? Personally, let me be honest, I was surprised to see those numbers, which is why I wanted to share it. You know, it had Fox News come out with those numbers, I would have been, okay, yeah, it's Fox News. But the fact that MSNBC and CNN are airing this, I really think that the numbers are actually worse, or, again, in the case of MSNBC, better than they're saying. But that's why I like using those numbers, because if even they are admitting that things are bad for Democrats and good for Trump, then you know the reality on the ground is a lot more favorable for us. I do want to recognize new Governors Club members. Again, these are people who have given tips or super thanks to the channel. So Law and Order Lisa, Paulin Gravel, Stacey L, Karen, Ali, MSM, Rich Weil, Colleen Daly. Thank you so much. I always appreciate not just your support, but everyone's support on the channel. And that will be a new segment I'm doing. It's called the Governors Club. So anyone who tips or donates through YouTube, I'm just going to say thank you on air, because I appreciate that you've taken the time to do that. It does help me and the pets out. Some of you, Stacy, I know, have specifically given super thanks, and they're like, buy Drogon a treat with this one, or buy Matchroom a treat with that one, buy yourself a coffee for this one. And I try to intentionally do that. And whenever people tell me to, like, say hi to Drogon or say hi to Matchroom for me, I will intentionally give them pets for you. By the way, Drogon is feeling sick. He TMI, but he had liquid diarrhea last night. But the only reason I say that is actually to brag about how smart he is, because he only went on the hardwood. He knew to avoid the carpet in my bedroom, like the carpet in all the rooms, as well as the rug here. If he's not feeling better in 2 days, because he's been on and off, he's been on and off for a few days, and if he's not better in 2 days, I'll bring him to the vet. But usually, like, he doesn't typically lay right by my feet, but he has the last few days, and that's how I knew something was wrong. But last night was really bad, and so he is just knocked out today. And he didn't even eat his breakfast. It's sitting in his bowl. But I'm not going to force it. I'm just going to let him eat when he eats. I do want to take the time now at the very end to respond to a few comments. It's been a while. I actually don't think I've done this in the new year. And when I first started doing this last year, a few viewers said they didn't like it, or said, Daniel, why are you arguing with people? And so just to explain this for people who haven't seen me do this before, my intention here is, number one, to engage with the community. Hey, you guys have taken time out of your days, out of your lives, to interact with the channel, and many of you take the time to leave comments. And my perspective is, A, it's the least I can do to show that I actually engage and read and appreciate your comments, and hopefully this is a way to show that in a video. And then two, even with comments that disagree with me, I think it provides multiple avenues for commentary, or just to engage in dialogue, which can in turn inspire more dialogue in the comments. So here we go. Thank you for calling out Brian Tyler Cohen. I've been hoping someone would challenge his content. Keep it up. You are a pro. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed that. A lot of people actually got upset. I believe one of the comments last video specifically was like, why are you platforming Brian Tyler Cohen? And I'm like, I'm not platforming him. He already has a platform that's 40 times larger than mine. And so my intention with that was to push back. I actually have a lot, believe it or not, I have a lot of Democrat viewers, or a lot of, as they call themselves, recovering Democrats or newly converted Republicans to the channel. And a lot of them are because early on, I would get into like, I know Tasia was a longtime viewer of the channel. I would get into like YouTube wars with other creators where they would make a video responding to me. I would make a video responding to them. And so part of me is like, oh, it's kind of a return to my roots in that sense. And I think, look, when I released a video responding to a YouTuber like Brian Tyler Cohen, a lot of people on the channel who are already here are like, Daniel, you're just preaching to the choir. But to me, I sort of view it as outreach, because it, hopefully the algorithm will rank my video alongside Brian's. His video now has over 1 million views. And I'm hoping that any viewers that are on the fence, or maybe don't follow politics closely, but for whatever reason trust him and don't get other points of views, will be exposed to another point of view. And when I can call out so obviously blatant editing and manipulation, I hope that it opens people's eyes. And even if they don't trust me, like, how many people do you trust when you first meet them? Even if they don't trust me the first time they watch one of my videos, I hope that it plants the seeds of doubt the next time they watch one of their favorite Democrat influencers' videos. And 2, maybe the next time they run across the channel, they'll be like, maybe this guy Daniel has a point. Yeah, but I'm glad you enjoyed the video. Number 2, from Melanie. I don't think I enjoyed this episode as others, just because I think you were slightly attacking Trump. And look, that's okay. To be clear, I'm a Trump supporter. I voted for him 3 times. And if I got called by one of these pollsters, by the way, I've never gotten a phone call from a pollster. Has anyone participated in a poll? Let me know down in the comments below. But I've never been asked by a poll. But if they asked me, do you approve of Donald Trump? I would say yes. It would not even be a hesitation. And that's why I make the videos the way I do. Whenever I give critiques, it's not criticism for the sake of criticizing Donald Trump. It's mostly like, hey, I want the administration to be the best it can be, and this is just my constructive feedback. I'm not delusional. I know they don't listen to me, but it is, it is a commentary and analysis channel, and, I don't think anyone's perfect. I don't think, I believe there's only been one person in all of mankind and human history that's been perfect, and like I've said before, his initials are JC, and so that's why I don't mind talking about Trump, but it got me to thinking, that comment. I think the reason a lot of Republicans, and specifically a lot of MAGA Republicans, I think the reason they get sensitive when it comes to any sort of criticism or any sort of critiques to Donald Trump is because of the hell that the media and the Democrats have put him through. It goes back, it's not just the recent lawfare, right? It goes back all the way to 2015 when he announced his run for president. They didn't even take him seriously. He was a joke. They tried to humiliate him. That is so demeaning. And then all of a sudden, it was the Russia hoax. You had 4 years of obstruction from the Democrats. And then you have all this lawfare. And so I think it is a very valid point of view for a lot of Trump supporters who think that Trump is truly a victim of the machine, of the establishment. And so they feel very protective. And it's like, no, we've had enough. That side does it. We don't need any more. So I don't want to put words into your mouth, Melanie. I think that's maybe where you're coming from. If I just had to like analyze what's going on, because I do get comments like that. And so I just wanted to explain that, and then B, say, I'm not going to, don't worry, I'm not changing my tune. I can't imagine being critical of Trump during his term based on the way everything's going. So I don't want you thinking like I'm changing course or anything like that. It's just, I want to be able to call out stuff on the right side of the aisle as well. I don't always want to rag on the left. And I hope that by doing that, by hopefully being even-handed, that it will earn trust. I've said this before, and I will say it again. I don't want views. I want trust. So that way, when I say something like, hey, Trump did this amazing thing, people believe it. And they're like, it's not just Daniel being a propagandist. No, it's like, no, this is a great, I hope that makes sense. Next comment. LOL, I watch TBC once in a while. He's an entertainer, and most of his subs are there for the laughs. He knows more. The more he talks nonsense about Trump, the more money he makes from YouTube because of all the TDS people. He's a clown, and in the leftist circus, clowns are needed to incite the crowd. I think you're right, and it is sad. I think a lot of people on the left do it for the money, and it also makes you wonder, do these people get paid by ActBlue or the DNC, like on top of the YouTube money and on top of the TDS people? I have no idea, but it makes you wonder. November the Hacker, you're kind of disgusting. You know that? November the Hacker has been following this channel for at least 8 years and has always had negative things to say about me, about my point of view, and about the channel. And by the way, she used to have a profile picture up, and she is now taking it off now. It just has a giant N there. Look, I'm not going to tell you to turn off the channel, because if you want to watch the channel, great. Hey, it helps me in the algorithm. But even though you disagree with me politically, like, I'm just speaking to you, and I hope you don't take this as an attack. Just friendly advice from, I know, someone you don't like. But we have one life to live. If you don't like my content, if it feels like torture watching my content, if all you're going to do is be negative and hate on my content, then I challenge you and encourage you to watch someone else that will make you happy. Again, we have one life to live. Why would you spend your time watching someone who you don't like? Like, just go find another content creator who makes you happy and then be happy. Just some friendly, unsolicited advice. Gazmatic, he's 100% disingenuous. Look at all his videos, all negative. He's the resistance. Agree with that 100%. No commentary, just wanted to read that. I'm sorry, but I'm crushing on Daniel. Crazy comment to me. So I've said before in the channel, I've struggled with weight. So in high school and college, one of the things, like, when people would be like, what do you want to be when you grow up? My first two answers were always realistic answers, like actually talking about career. And then, like, my third answer would always be, I want to be sexy when I grow up. So it's weird seeing comments like that. And a few people on my last video or 2 videos ago started a thread being like, Daniel, can you do a video shirtless, double dog dare you? And people were thumbing it up and interacting with that comment. I'll make you a deal. If I have a 6-pack by summer, if these Saturday night hangouts turn into like a regular thing, I'll wear a tank top t-shirt and, you know, sun's out, guns out, right? Yeah. Tell your dog hi. I will tell him hi after I finish making this video. He deserves all the love today. I really hope he's feeling better, and I hope it's not bad, but he seems to have been good. I think he's just sleeping now because it was a long night last night. Last but not least, I'm a recovering Democrat, and I'm definitely getting Tea Party vibes. This scares me. I hope that the resistance that's happening on the left is just the fringe, and that the fringe ends up really fracturing the Democrat Party and turning it more into a civil war. I hope it's not the Tea Party in terms of, like, I agree with Tea Party vibes as far as the energy and how it seems to be spreading, right? But the Tea Party was all about unity, right? So there was energy, but it was these coalitions and disaffected people coming together. I hope that what's happening right now just further divides the radical left from more centrist Democrats. But it does scare me because I'm getting the same vibes too. But anyways, I hope you all enjoyed the video. You're always free to comment on anything, but I would specifically love to know what you think about those poll numbers from CNN and MSNBC. If you haven't already, please be sure to give me a thumbs up. I know it's a simple thing to ask for, but it really does help me reach more viewers like you in the algorithm. Be sure to smash that subscribe button and to check out one of these videos.